Welcome to Truly Heal and our case study about relationship stress and cancer. Now, we don't talk that much about how stress is related to cancer. If you don't know that, just click at the button below and there is a little field with stress and cancer with those cracks, and just click on that and we'll take you to another article that clearly states or clearly explains why those two are linked. What we want to look at today is more to do with how stress can negate all of your efforts to get well. It can actually reverse all of your treatments, everything you've done in one hit. And that's something that clearly shows that all of those cures, all of those treatments don't really work as long as you don't participate and change the problem in your attitude and in your emotional state. Over the past few years, I've been working with a lot of clients, and what I noticed is that many of them do really well and they do everything, but if they don't change the mind, if they don't change their attitude, or if an event happens like a divorce or loss of a loved one, that's when everything is triggered back, and within very, very short time, the cancer grows back. And that's what happened here with Jennifer. Jennifer called me and said that she would need help because 6 years of being, or 4 years of being cancer-free was just gone within a matter of weeks when her husband decided to leave her. You know, she reduced her tumor to scar tissue, no active form, all scans, tumor marker and floating stem cell came all back negative. 6 years, followed diligent diet, did everything, hypothermia, PMF, all the treatments, IV infusions, vitamin C infusions, diet, very diligent. She never cheated. She never had a coffee in that time. So no symptoms, no pain. And we all celebrated that she was clear until her husband announced that he wanted a divorce. And when she called me, it was about 3 weeks after the incident. Her tumor had grown 3 centimeters from scar tissue, and she said she was feeling absolutely down. 7 weeks later, when we met, she had 15 spots in her lungs, about 6 or 7 centimeters the tumor, and was extremely panicking. And it's pretty obvious. Even though she continued the treatments, even though she did hypothermia, the mind was overriding all of her efforts to get well. And that showed me that we need to deal so much more with the mind and with our emotional state in order to really heal than we thought. And that's why we've been working on a whole range of training and videos to really clarify how we can do that. And today, I would like to show you how not to get stressed if your husband tells you he has a girlfriend and is moving out. That's probably one of the tough tasks, but it worked. And we sat down and it was very rewarding, very beautiful. Jennifer was in complete tears afterwards and saw the bigger picture. And I want you to see that. I'll keep it very short, but I want you to see what we did. Just to be aware, because a lot of people would say, well, yeah, just for stress relief, relax or meditate or breathe or tap the problem away. You can't. You know exactly. If your mind is on a loop and it works while you do the dishes, while you do the laundry, while you are the household, while you drive the car, it goes in circles and it doesn't stop repeating the problem. Our minds are very rarely solving, they just repeat the same problem over and over again. So what we did is we needed to define the problem and see the gratitude in what happened. And that's what we do with my love chart. I use this chart for loving cancer, love bankruptcy, love the loss of a loved one. We use it in many forms. And in this case, we used it to be happy and to be grateful that the partner left. That's something that it always works, but it was not as straightforward as you probably think. So the question is very simple. What has been difficult with your partner in regards to relationships, in regards to spirituality, mental, physical, and we ask questions, and then we go through the subcategories and find as many points as we can to clarify the situation. So, because if we just look for the blessings without knowing the drawbacks that we had, it's an uneven picture. So we need to build both. Purpose of relationship was pretty much just to keep it up for the neighborhood. What would the parents say? What would the neighbors say? And Jenny gave me permission to ridicule her because she had to laugh about that in the same way when she noticed. But it was more staying together, because that's what you do, and you keep up the image for the kids. Then learning to communicate, to deal with each other. There was more like walking away from each other. He was not a very caring personality, so the more she wanted him to look after, the more he ran away, because he was just overwhelmed with that task and looking after her and being in charge. Then the next thing was there was no intimacy, there was no sexual contact, there was very little, and it was just not satisfactory. Friendship, talking with each other and going out and going dancing, nothing like that. She lived more or less her life, he lived his life. And spirituality, because of her disease, she started to read a lot and attend groups and yoga groups and meditation groups. What he ridiculed in any possible form, it was just out of his reach. He couldn't get there, and actually he didn't want to. So the more she went into breathing exercises, pranayama in the morning, meditation, the more he joked about it and did not want to associate himself with it. And I think that's where the biggest rift came. Mental, same thing. She studied, she learned, she attended classes, she then learned to cook, she cooked differently, she traveled to different clinics around the world, which really opened her mind. And you know that. When you start with a diagnosis, all of a sudden you soak up knowledge from webinars, from newsletters, from everything. You get more and more information, and it really changes how you think. And that's what she did. Physical, there was a lot of changes, a lot of exercises, a lot of diet, all of those things that he stuck to his old diet. He didn't want to know. So it was really the cliff was getting bigger and bigger. And because she was so involved in her life, she didn't notice that he was withdrawing. Financial, he was actually on the upper hand. That's where he really compensated. He had more income and supported her, but he made her feel it was like that imbalance. That's where he was stronger, and he made her feel that she had to ask for money and had to be really grateful. And so social, friendship, his friends, her friends, total different communities, very little get together, and also very little creativity to do something together which would spark the relationship back to life. And vocation, he was working and she was at home doing housework and looking after herself. When she noticed all of those points, she actually became aware that that was not all of a sudden, and it was certainly not without reason. He was not happy. He was certainly not satisfied with the relationship, and he had signed up for something else. It was his dream to have a partner to have fun with, and not one that restricts everything with diet, and you can't do this and you can't go there, and that's where there's smoke. And it's a different world when you start to become conscious and aware. So that was number one. Then where did you feel that you were held back in your relationship? And again, we found many, many different points which really showed that she could have moved on a lot faster. And when you have something and your partner doesn't come along, you often let go, or you don't have the push to do it. So it was quite restrictive, not happy, not joyful. And that's where, for me, always a big bulb goes on. Why do we stay in situations that are not good? Why do we satisfy ourselves and get used to misery instead of saying, wow, let's change that and move on to the light, move on to something that's more fun? Well, that's what she had to do. And we found, what do you want to do now with your life as you're free? And again, relationship. Who are the people that you want to be around with? Who are the people that you want to associate with? Where do you find them? What are the communities? We went through every single little bit, choice, all the being looked after. Who could do that for her, and what kind of community? What common denominator would be there. So as we went through this, she found a huge range of interesting groups that would attract her. Spiritual, she was already very empowered and she knew everything. Mental, study, learn. I think she was interested, but it was more now about this. She realized that that's a complete different world of thinking as she got that. So she already signed up for the EQ Academy, because this is a transformation in the way you see the world. Physical, I think everything is already on target. And as soon as she gets the mind back under control and really falls into that gratitude, that's when then the body starts to heal, probably even more so than before, where she's constantly in that stress, chronic stress causing disease. Well, to get rid of that and transform her life will probably help. Financial, that's the two areas, financial and work, where we had to plan. What does she do? What kind of work would she like to do? How can she contribute to the world and earn money with it? And we found some solutions. She's very good in typing. So copywriting or transcribing, there is many different things that she could do really well. And we started to look into those as vocation and then as an income stream, and setting up different income streams. Again, without the fear, without that, oh, I don't have no money, oh, I will not have something to, I can't pay the rent. It's actually, how much do I need and how much do I need to earn, and breaking it down so that it's not an unsurmountable problem, but rather a very focused one. And social, very simple. How can I be a leader in this world and share what I've learned with this world, and so that it returns back to me in regards to friends and people that like me. A very simple system, but you know what the outcome was? Gratitude. And this is what we always see. Every time we do this exercise, the result is always the same. It's gratitude for the problem. Now, being forced into consciousness, and that's what she was. Consciousness of the misery she was in, and consciousness that it was actually a relief to get out. Sometimes you're just not brave enough to do the things that would be good for you. That's why you need a loving soul. Again, her husband in that regard, not to be blamed for pain, but actually regarded as a loving soul to push you out of stagnation into the flow of life where miracles happen. Is that a change of mind? Is that a change of attitude? Is that where the stress really goes away? I found one thing really fascinating, and it's to do with our frequencies of the mind. Blame, anger, frustration, resentment are very coarse frequencies, very low. They cause disease, they prevent healing, they reverse our body physique. It's like when you have that, it's fight and flight. All organs, all nutrient uptake, everything is shut down and everything is sent to the fight-flight into the muscles. And that's what happened in that case over a long period of time. So changing that and transforming her attitude was really that massive change that we needed. And love and gratitude are healing frequencies. And that's what we learn at the EQ Academy. It's actually a very different word. Emotional intelligence converts every problem into an opportunity, every difficulty into something to be grateful for, everything that we struggle with into something that we learn to love. And as soon as we do, our mindset changes, and through that we can deal with it a lot more wisely. And that's why emotional intelligence. Now, if you are intrigued and would like to learn more and see our relationship program, then just follow the link. I'll print it underneath and set this image underneath, and just click on it. It's a long link. I don't think you want to write that down. And go there and watch those videos. They will give you a lot of insights about how to shift the mind out of stress into something that you can love. All right? See you next week when we take the next case study.